Hey folks, it's Pop Culture SquadCast Live, and we have a stand-in for Mike. Mike is not here tonight, so we wish him well, and hopefully he'll be back next week. But in the meantime, hey Vito, well, good to
Hi,
see you. Vito
I'm
Del Sante is joining us to co-host tonight.
I'm the gold standard.
You're trying to measure up at least to the
Yeah, at
gold
least.
standard. Um, Vito decided to join us tonight, and I appreciate that. We are going to sneak attack our guest tonight. We do have a guest coming. He's not here yet, but he will be here shortly, hopefully. And Ray Anthony Height is going to join us, and Vito knows a bit about him, and we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, let's talk about a couple of things that are going on in the world. It's Thanksgiving week, so happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Vito, before we get to that, you're here, so what's going on, man? How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm
You want to give a quick shout out right ahead? Let's at the top. We got Vito X Dino or Dino X Vito, which one it is.
for some reason Dean put my name first, but I always make sure his name and the descriptions are always first for some reason.
Yeah, I do
Just
that too.
just like to be there. He is right there.
You know,
Yeah, we're coming up on our 46th episode, so that means we are 6 away from a full year of Vito X Dino. So that's exciting. So we should be crossing that right at the end of December, if not beginning of January. I have a bunch of things that, as a result of not going to Baltimore this year, that I decided that I was just going to focus on putting all my work towards 2026, and hopefully that's starts off pretty soon. Like I haven't sent anything to printers, so there's nothing to be excited about yet. But um, there's a lot to be excited for once we start getting into convention season.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I hope to see you, in person. We didn't do that this year yet.
No.
In the meantime, I do want to talk about one of the books that's coming out this week, and mostly because I haven't read it yet, but Mike did, and um, let me grab it, put it up here. So Mike's column this week is talking about the latest DC anthology that happens, every year. It's there's lots of great anthologies that happen around Christmas time, and or any particular holiday. This is Thanksgiving and Christmas, so the DC has their DC's I Saw Ma Hunkle Kissing Santa Claus. We might talk about this again next week when Mike's back, because there's something that's kind of there's a bit of history / pop culture SquadCast history that we're going to bring together. But in the meantime, I love the concept of you're going to have a Christmas book and you're going to throw Ma Hunkle Kissing Santa Claus. I think that's fine. I think that's great. And for people who don't know, Ma Hunkle is the original red tornado from the Golden Age, and that's fun. What do you think?
She's got bags on her feet. The funny thing is, the only book that I currently read, I read Batman by Fraction and Jorge.
Yep.
I read JSA by Jeff Lemire and Gavin Guidry, and
Gavin Guidry is currently doing the current run, the year one stuff, which I'm loving.
And I also, I don't really like. I'm finishing up with New Gods. That
have you finished it?
Yeah,
the last issue just already came out.
Yeah, I haven't picked it up yet, so those are the only things I'm reading, really.
Let's talk about comics for a second. What do you think of New God? Because I haven't heard a lot of talk about it, but I really
absolutely adore it. I can't praise it enough. We've talked about it on our show many times. We need to we're still catching up. Dean doesn't get to the comic store as often as he'd like, so we try to get digital copies for him to read. And I'm going to the comic store like once every 2 or 3 months, maybe. I mean, I have a small stack now, so it's not It's not terrible like it was at the beginning of the year. But yeah, I've been trying to keep up, but that book is just gangbusters. Just an
I think it's
absolutely all-star book.
it ends well. I will tell you
Good.
that much. I'm not gonna. I don't want to spoil anything. It ends well. Um, uh, and what I loved about the way that Ram V, who's the writer of it, the formatting and the structure of each issue was was unique and entertaining. There's always sort of some sort of like backstory thing, and then there's the current status of what's going on, and there's this different time constraints of what's going on, and there's always different artist. Did you get to the Black Racer issue?
Yes. I
This
think
Cowan issue is fantastic.
I think I'm up to issue 9 or 10, one of the two. Like I know
I think 10 is. I think 10 is the end. I think so. You might be at 9. I think.
Oh,
you can
okay.
only go
Yeah.
to 10.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best books of the year. Like just
Super underrated too. Like nobody's talking about it.
I think so as well. Other than that, like I just got these in the mail from Marty Keene, which are
Nice.
like Batman and Loma Luce, which is the Light Man, which just he painted some of this stuff, for Loma Luce, and it's just beautiful. So I mean, other than Kickstarters and the occasional, like a friend of mine put out a book, I'm not really picking up on Marvel and DC.
Well, that's fine. Nobody. Listen, I I have a lot of like this is the last few weeks of what I've read and picked up. There's like some of this is I picked up at a show, but like it's there's so many good books, whether the Marvel DC, there's tons of indie books that I love that I'm behind on.
Yeah.
So much good storytelling. And one of the things, and thanks for being here, Vito. I want to kind of bring in the kind of the opening dialogue that I wanted to talk about tonight more than anything. And this has been tossing around in my head for the last week or so. And I spend a decent enough time, probably more than I should, scrolling TikTok, seeing what's going on, seeing what people are talking about. I have a lot of comic mutuals or a lot of people in comics that I get their feeds from. And I say comics, people who like comics and want to talk about them. And a lot of them are younger people who are just discovering comics, who are finding this great medium that we love, that I've loved for the past 50 years or however many almost. And I love that. I love how they do things. But it's interesting how so many people who are new to comics fandom and liking reading comics put so many constraints on how they approach it. I'm only going to read DC, or I have to read things in, what's the best order to read things in. And not there's kind of comics is its own beast, but it's also a media thing that needs to be consumed for its own sake, as opposed to it's not a movie or TV series. It's not manga. You don't read it in order. It's not something, and understanding that the creative teams are, particularly if it's something that's licensed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking, I guess I'm talking about license, because a lot of folks don't understand, or younger people or new people, let's put it that way, newer people don't understand that licensed properties, the superheroes that people read, Marvel and DC, that process is that an editor will say, hey, pitch me an idea for a story to a writer, and then that writer will come up with an idea, and the editor will say yes or no. And so then they will go forward with that idea, but it's not meant to be the be all end all of anything, right?
Yeah, folks have a very I want to say strong aversion or strong attraction to canon.
Mm-hmm.
What's canon? What is is essential, what is absolutely the criteria of XYZ. But canon plays a big part in that, I think, where when you think back, guys our age, Crisis on Infinite Earths was supposed to jettison a lot of the canon that came before it and just kind of streamline it so that it would be digestible to new audiences. Then you have manga, which you have series that run for long, extended periods of time, both in something like a Shonen Jump magazine and in the actual collections. And they are sometimes impenetrable, just like any kind of continuity is. Whenever you're looking at Star Trek, I couldn't tell you anything about the original Star Trek as far as things that are like essential canon that you have to watch, like with Kirk and Spock, Shatner, Nimoy, Star Trek. I'm familiar with all the movies. I know that every other one is the good one. Like all the odd number ones are meh, but the even numbered ones are great. City on the Edge of Forever, whichever the Harlan Ellison one is the only one that I can speak to that I remember. So I'm not tied to Star Trek continuity, but
it's approachable to you. You can.
I think so. I mean, if I were so inclined to do so, sure. I think it's easy. That's the beauty of the internet, is that there are Wikipedias for every single fandom that I could just read a synopsis and just go, okay, I'm caught up. I can now watch this or whatever. But the other thing too is that some of it is impenetrable as a construct. Like it's made to be impenetrable. That it's almost made to be. If you didn't catch it now, don't bother, or something like that.
Are you talking about manga?
I think it could be anything really. Like I think there are. Like Game of Thrones, for example. I feel like
I feel like you need to go through you need to get to the beginning of that.
And I think you have to, like even if you famously I've said that I watched the first episode and never watched another one, because as soon as I got to the end, I was like, yeah, I get it. Like I know exactly what the show is and stuff, and I can skip it.
Sure.
But I feel like it rewards people that have read the books, and maybe in some cases not so much according to chatter online, but it also rewards people that have read the books and watched since the beginning. And then if you go watch House of Dragons, that rewards you for watching, and it's insular. Maybe not impenetrable per se, but it's insular, that it encompasses its own kind of universe and world that for the layman, for just coming in, just saying, oh, that seems interesting, let me check it out, you're easily lost in something like that.
And it's an interesting concept. So, ironically, for the first Game of Thrones episode that I ever saw was the battle at Winterfell, which is like the dark episode.
Yeah.
And I watched that episode, and then I went back to the beginning. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So, but now I already know a lot that's happened because I know what happened in that episode, right? So getting there, somebody just entered the green room, and he's probably getting confused and curious as to what's going on here. And we'll get to our guest pretty soon. So yeah, I mean, you can do that. But one of the things I think about comics is that there's certain things, like I will grab in, like where I came into comics, was with somewhere in I think it was one of the Thunder and Lightning, or no, when I started to collect, really was one of the Thunder and Lightning issues of New Teen Titans. But then I went back and got a whole bunch of other stuff and followed in. And I can jump into X-Men where it is now and kind of figure out what's going on, or I can do that with other things, and I'm fine with that. Like if it's a creator-owned thing that starts in the beginning, I want to go back and start with that. But like anything that's like
easier to get into, because they're usually shorter runs. With something like Avengers, you're looking at 800 copies of a book, that like, or because I doubt that all the trades are printed sequentially, like they're all jumping around,
right? Sure.
But like if you wanted to go back and read from Avengers #1 to whatever's being published today, it's a lot. Like it's not something that you can easily just do. I mean, the trades are supposed to do that for you. They're supposed to make it easier for the casual or new person to come in. It
Yeah.
used to be that every issue was everyone's first issue or anyone's first issue. It was a one
But
shot.
that's also important. And that's an important thing. Like a lot of times, and especially with licensed books with Marvel and DC, that there is that idea from editorial that this is somebody's first issue. So there is some level of you need to hold people's hand just a little bit. You can't expect that somebody's been here for 800 issues.
Right.
And kind of on that level, and I want to mention something funny first, and then we're going to get into something a little bit more serious. The funny part is I saw a TikTok where, and I think she was joking, but there was a young woman who was saying that she was reading Batman year one, and she couldn't understand the font choice that they used for Bruce's thoughts, and the irony of that is that font choice is well, it's cursive, but it's not a font.
It's his journal.
It's not a font. It is Todd Klein's cursive. It was 1986. There is no fonts. This is hand lettered, and like the concept of that, for people is like that is. It's ironic that she's complaining about the font or lettering or whatever it is in that particular issue, because anybody who watches the show knows that I'm a huge lettering nerd, and I've said many times that book, when I read it, was when I learned and discovered that lettering is a skill and an art. It was that.
Not when I
what?
Not when I do it.
Well, but the choices that Todd made in that book.
No, for sure.
Were just phenomenal. But so that's funny. You see young people, and I'm like, hey. So I did comment. I'm like, hey, it's not a font. It's hand lettered.
That's great.
But because now they can. Now it is. So one of the we got to get to this really quick, and I do want, and hopefully we won't spend too long on it, but I do want to take a minute. Today, there was a big kind of explosion in the comics social media verse. There's a book that came out that's a Marvel Unlimited chapter, and I don't know what a Marvel Unlimited is.
I think it's digital.
It's digital. They're like short parts of a chapter. They're not full issues, but there's and so Marvel, in their infinite wisdom, has decided that they're going to have books that are digital only, that are linked in with their giant crossover event that's going on in the Xbox, which is Age of Revolution, which I'm not reading, and I don't have any care to read about some giant future crossover event where Doug Ramsey is the spawn of Apocalypse and the evil person. He's Doug. He's just Doug. But so Revelation, which is also a dumb name, is
Apocalypse, Revelation. It's like biblical.
Okay, so. Apocalypse, fine. Revelation is dumb. Revolution is dumb. That's Bucky's name now. He's Revolution.
I don't want to talk about that.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm being a little judgmental tonight, and I apologize for that. But here's the thing. I'm a little upset because people in this particular issue, it's about magic. Ilyana Rasputin, one of my favorite characters. I love Ilyana Rasputin. I love magic. I've been, since her very beginnings, I've been reading her. There's this future alternate possibility where in this future world, Ilyana has died, but Darkchild survives. And people were unhappy with the perspective and the situations that the writer, Tim Seeley, and artist Philip Sevy put her in, and felt that they were attacking this character that they loved. To the point that many people, there were several posts on Twitter, threatening Tim Seeley's life and suggesting that it ends. Listen, it's just comics, people. She doesn't belong to you. She doesn't belong to Tim. Tim doesn't care. It's just a silly story. And I love that characters mean something to people. And, as well as I do, that characters mean a lot to me,
Sure.
as evidenced by what's around me. Next week, we're going to have a guest on who wrote something with one of my favorite characters that I absolutely hated. I still think he's a fantastic writer. And I don't blame him for the things that editorial greenlit or whatever. He just wrote something that I didn't like to read. And I didn't.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, don't read it. But don't attack a person's life or their, I cannot get my head around it. I'm gonna let you talk.
Well, it's what it is. It's gatekeeping. It's a very I used to always say I don't know what the view is of Comicsgate nowadays. It seems not that it's past, because some of those guys are still making comics and they're still making some odd choices about those comics, and they still have their opinions in their YouTube channels and stuff, and so on and so forth. But I don't hear about Comicsgate as much as I did 3, 4.
No, it's interesting is that the younger generation does know about it. I find that interesting that they know about it.
So the point that I'm making is that they were that was their whole gimmick, was gatekeeping what they thought was the traditional roles of comic book creators, that women shouldn't write certain characters. We don't have to change the sex or the color of another character, et cetera, et cetera. And the thing that I always used to say was, you're holding on to something so tightly that's not even yours. It doesn't belong to any of us. There's not one DC Comics writer that has written Superman since I wrote my one issue that has referenced my issue, and I don't care. It
was beautiful.
It's good, but it's not that, I don't. My contribution to Superman was quick. It wasn't something that's going to show up in a James Gunn movie. It's not gonna affect. You know what I mean? So to take it and to say Magic, Liana, Darkchild, this isn't the way the character's supposed to be. Who says? And
it's not even. Here's the thing: it's not even that it's not how she's supposed to be. They're upset that he revisited trauma upon them, and part of the other issue is the concept of implied trauma, right? They're upset. There's this concept of abuse, her childhood abuse, while she was in limbo, which, let's get mad at Chris if we want to get mad at anybody, but it's part of her character. And when you reference it, it's how it goes.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that you were talking about, continuity before. Sometimes people, thank you, Ed. Sometimes people have, they have their character in a certain issue that we used to always call it the golden age. For collectors, when you started reading comics is your golden age. Doesn't matter what, 1940, 1930, your golden age is 1970, whatever, right? So this character debuts, and her character, the idea that a character can't change because they were written one way originally, or someone, brought up something at a different time, and then someone went back and changed that. That's kind of, all stories are cyclical anyway.
I'll give you someone that you can relate to as well. there's a character out there that is super popular with people, that I saw their origin, had a particular opinion about that character, and I can relate to the character. I can enjoy that character today, but it is not the character that I first met, and the character is vastly different, and that's Raven.
Yeah, I figured that was you either
Right.
Raven or Cyborg is what I thought you were going to say.
Cyborg too, but Raven, I think even more, right? So Raven, the people who have read and learned about Raven and anything that she's been published since Teen Titans the cartoon is completely different from the character that as she was introduced, and she was a great character. A lot of things went on. Then Marv got a little wacky, but it was still really good. One of the best slow burns in comics history. Um, but it's okay that character is different.
Sure.
It's okay because this is a story that they're telling. Characters are devices to tell a story. They're not real.
And I mean, I feel like it needs to be said, but there are things that as creators, for example, this is a very good example. In trying to create a trans character, I'm still trying to figure out how to navigate that within my own work, because it's still something that I'm navigating in the real world. I'm not going to get it
Sure.
right away, but I mean, my heart's in the right place. And I hope that comes across in the work when I do attempt these things. But I'm not going to get it right. Like, I don't have a lot of the experiences. I'm 52. I don't have a lot of the experiences that millennials or the zillennials or like the current Gen Y, like that they have with the world at large being this. So whenever you have somebody like a Magic, like a Ileana Rasputin, that when someone goes back to a trauma that you thought that the character was past, it's not for lack of trying to make a good story. It's possibly even just an honest mistake by Tim, but I don't even think that that's the case. That's not Tim's fault. That is an editor's fault. If an editor was so precious about the character to say that this character has to be XYZ, and Tim writes a story and goes through the assistant editor and it goes through the editor and it goes through the editor in chief and no one says anything, that is not Tim's fault. And I'm not saying that you should hold anyone to blame.
And I don't think there's I don't think there's anything necessarily. I mean, I haven't read the book, but from what I've seen,
Right.
the bits and pieces, I don't.
Yeah.
It's also part of telling the story. It's part of giving the character a challenge.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that. Again, it's a character.
It's also intentionally done. If you look at I mean, I haven't read it, but the way you described it, that it's a story that takes place in a possible future
Mhm.
where Doug Ramsey as Revelation is now in charge of or controlling the world. Or
And she died, and she's like upset because
there's your point right there. Like Magic, Ileana is not changed. She is the exact character that you like, but this alternate universe is where things changed.
Right.
So
there's going to be nothing left of this.
Like a week.
Right. And
it's a nothing argument. I mean, it
is, but the vitriol that was
nothing argument.
Yeah, you're right. All right. I also wanted to I want to wrap this up, and we're going to get to our guests, because thank you so much, Ray, for being patient. The most important thing, and
who's on the show?
He didn't know you were going to be here. The point is, and you know this as well, and Dean knows if he's watching. Listen, comic book creators are not here to be your heroes, or they don't answer to you. They're out there trying to make a point, and calling for them to be harmed is dangerous, evil, irresponsible. Just walk away, people. Learn to just say, hey, it's not for me. Or say, you can tell people, I don't like this because of whatever, but don't make it personal and don't go after people. That's unfair.
The internet has created a lot of very bold people that can say whatever they want with the safety of their keyboard. what did Mike Tyson say? You know, everyone likes to talk loud until they get punched in the face.
I understand.
And he's nobody to admire either. But
Exactly.
That's a very good point that he made.
All right. In the mean, thank you for humoring me, for joining me in this conversation. Thanks all of you for listening and letting us talk about it, because it really upset me. And I will say, you know, Tim's a friend of ours. I texted him, you know, my support earlier, and I'm going to be honest about that, because I think he's a really smart man. He's a really, you know, everyone makes mistakes in their lives. Everybody has things. I'm no exception to that. But I know that the life that he's living and the way he's living his life is good and just, and doesn't deserve that.
Sure.
All right, now let us bring in the publisher of Skye-Tiger Studios, the creator of Midnight Tiger, the one, the only Ray Anthony Height. Hey, Ray.
Well, look who's here.
Yeah.
Did you know, V, I was going to be here?
I mean, I knew you were doing a show, you know, like, because Dean was mentioning it to me the other day, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to watch, you know, and then Bob just texted me out of the blue, like,
of course he did.
an hour ago.
Well, I mean, so Mike, you know, forget people who just tuned in. Mike Gold, my normal partner, couldn't make it tonight. He had something going on. So I kind of got hit at the last minute, and I said, hey, let's sneak attack Ray.
That's perfect. I was looking forward to Mike, but I got Vito instead. I was gonna say, Mike, you look a little different these days.
You know, but we definitely need a bald head with facial hair, and then everybody on the show is bald.
Everybody's on that team
except for Dino. He's got hair and no facial hair. He's got hair on his head and no facial hair.
I made him get a haircut.
It's opposite day.
It's so good to have you on the show. I would like to start with talking about the current Kickstarter. Let's do that first, and let's talk about that.
Okay, happy to do it. Bob, do you mind if I put the link in the
Oh yeah,
chat?
you can put the link in there. I was gonna as well. I'm gonna, before we get started though, real quick, let me grab the this and put up the little preview or whatever. Here we go. Let me grab this. Dump, share it.
And your intro was like a time capsule.
I know. Well, that's the fun part. That's fun part. That's a lot of stuff, man. You have done so much stuff over the past 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
You know,
Like,
and
I liked it. Like, I was looking at that, and I was just like, oh yeah. Like,
oh yeah.
Like,
listen, there was stuff I had to leave out too. You know, there's so much. But yeah, so let's get this. Let's watch this little intro. Give me a sec here. Go, boom, play it.
Studio Skye-Tiger Comics.
Oh
that was crazy.
yeah. V, you were down that street.
Hell yeah, it was.
Retro.
That's me as a little boy. King Memorial in Compton.
Purchase your tracks today.
Hi. Look at that thing. Hello. This is my dad. Hi.
All
Well,
right.
thank you, Bob.
29%. How dare you, everyone?
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
It said project is 29% of its goal right at the end. I'm like, how dare you? Like, let's go.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
we'll get it there. That's what that's why I want to talk about this. So tell us about it.
Okay.
And that's part of why I wanted to have you on for a while, and we always like to get people on when they have something to talk about, especially something we can help with in any way. So this is a collaboration. Your studio is kind of spearheading it. So tell us what's this book about?
So I met Marcus D. Newsom some couple years ago. Actually, more than that, probably maybe 5 years ago. And he was the local circuit, great independent comic, just like, me and Vito's. But his character is called Lightning Strike, which is, the comic book version of himself. The main character's name is Marcus. And, the entire thing takes place in Compton, which is where I'm from, which is where Marcus Newsom is from. And we kind of talked about being, in the independent circuit with these characters, kind of from this background and stuff like that. Enter 2 years later, I end up meeting Jamal Anansi.
Mm.
And well, not 2 years later, 3 years later, because that was 2 years ago. And so Jamal came to my table, and Shayla and I were, tabling, and we were, I think, just talking about WTF Mama, I think, because the book hadn't been out quite yet. But we were just, talking about it. And so he comes up and he's wanting to ask questions, and I think he was recommended to me. He was like, somebody told me that you were from Compton and that you were like working for Marvel and all this kind of stuff. So, talk me through it. He's like, I'm a writer and I have, these ideas. And so anybody in this or the professional knows, we get people come to our table all the time, and they have aspiring dreams of becoming creators. And, any creator you talk to, Bob, Vito knows this personally, for every 10 people that come to our table talking about their aspirations as creators, maybe one of them actually does it. Maybe one succeeds. There's probably less, but Jamal's very serious. And so I told him, I said, look, this is what you should do. I said, you have all these stories. He's an amazing writer. I said, if you have all these stories, do 8 pages for each of them, short stories. Put them in an anthology. You put your money behind it and all this kind of stuff. I said, don't do this giant tome. I mean, that's just a lot. So if you have these things, just do that. Wouldn't you know, 8 months later, he came back with not only anthology, but a couple of books. He was very serious, but he kept talking to us over the course of that time. And he's like, yeah, I got art in and stuff like that. And I would say, before he actually printed, he showed me the artwork. And I was like, this guy's got it. This guy's got it. So now we're all together. Now we're all talking. And he's like, what we should do? We should do this crossover with, Lightning Strike and Midnight Tiger. I was like, that actually sounds cool. At first, was the crossover with Lightning Strike and Midnight Tiger. But then, with Jamal added to the mix, he's like, well, I have this new character called Sincere, who's kind of an anti-villain. It's kind of, this guy is a revolutionary. See, he's a hood revolutionary. And his only power is he can't lie. At least that's what he says.
Ooh.
And his goal is essentially to overthrow the government by uniting all the gangs in the world.
All right, I'm in. I'm
Right?
interested.
It's crazy. It's awesome, and I was like, okay. So, we're all doing our thing. We get back to work on our own project and stuff like that. And this is as I'm building the studio. And so it's been
Mhm.
hinted at that these guys are like, we want to be a part of the studio. And I was like, okay, I said, but
Building
you
an
guys said,
empire.
yeah, the empire is building me. I mean, it's come to me. So it's so funny. And so Jamal's like, he's got they now Bob V. These guys have their own. They've already printed their own books. They have their own stuff. They have their own companies. So as things start building, and this hype that has really taken over, once people found out that I was starting my own publishing company, I have had literally all kinds of people come at me like, I want to be a part of this. I want to, if you have some things, whatever, let me be a part of it. Like, Erica Schultz is doing something with me.
That's fantastic. It's funny because as I'm doing those previews, your preview video, I'm like, he worked with Erica. And just seeing all the people that you've worked with. It's just so many great people that over the time, because you forget all that stuff, and like
they're amazing.
So many people that you've worked with. Erica's friend. She was on the show earlier this year.
I know. I saw.
She but I want to talk about is it Marcus? I'm sorry.
Is it Marcus or Jamal?
Marcus Newsom is the artist, right?
Yes, he is. Yes.
And I love it. I think his art for a book about Compton is, you couldn't ask for anything better.
It's dead on, right, Bob?
It's very Damian Scott.
Yes.
Which I used to hang with Damian once in a while, and Damian, grew up in I think he grew up in New York, but I know he grew up, like kind of in graffiti culture, and a lot of his references and influences came from that, and it feels very much like that. It feels very for the layman, it would be an urban style, but like to me, it feels like legit, like genuinely black. Like it, like
yeah, definitely.
I mean, it does. Yeah,
it's of the culture.
Yeah, exactly.
It belongs. It like I said, it is of the location. If you it is and to be honest with you, there's nothing about this book, about these preview pages, however many pages it is, that is not right on. Your letterer is perfect for this book.
Just have it. Just have it.
Yeah, just have it. I mean,
amazing.
That is, you couldn't ask for somebody to letter this book with in a better. I mean, the must-haves are there, right?
Yeah.
But the extras are perfect. It is authentic, and I'm excited for it. We're gonna keep pumping it. The link, if anybody's watching or when they're watching, if they haven't noticed yet, in wherever you're watching this in the comments, the link to this book is there. There's also a link on popculturesquad.com right now. There's a post for this episode that's on popculturesquad.com. You can go there and there's just a click link directly in there, going to the Kickstarter page. So go and get it. There's plenty of time for you to back this project. So
great. There's a couple of pictures that I've noticed on Instagram where the three of you were recognized by the city of Compton.
Yes.
And I wanted to know,
thanks to Marcus Newsom actually did that. So he is an amazing community leader,
mm-hmm.
and this is not his first commendation by the city. Like, he's all hooked in.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's, like I said, he's known me for at least 5 years, and he used to keep bringing up, he's like, does the city know what you do? Like, do they know that you exist? And I was like, I don't think so. I mean, I've never been recognized by the city or anything like that, but the people who know my work, I said, they all know I'm from Compton. I don't shut up about it. So, I told the story. I was like, I was at the big stage of the Marvel Quick Draw in San Diego and mentioned I was from Compton. So thousands of people on the biggest platform in San Diego know I'm from Compton. So, and it's funny because when I met the mayor and I said that, and Pauline Brown, who is the person who actually orchestrated everything from the Compton Historic Society 125, and they set the whole thing up and through Marcus. And she asked me, "Have you ever been invited home?"
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh man, they really got me." Shout out to Miss Pauline Brown, Reverend Brown. They're fantastic. Marcus Newsom. So Marcus made it his mission to make sure that the city of Compton knew that they had someone who is, fairly recognizable in comics, doing it at such a level. And so they were enthralled. So when the mayor was reading off my credits, she flipped out. I think it's a recording. It's like, "What, Marvel?" I was like, "Yeah." And so, yeah. So now we're trying to do some very big things in Compton since that time. But yeah, Marcus's work. Let's go back to Marcus's work because I can't wait to talk about both of these gentlemen. Marcus. So Marcus sees me as some kind of a mentor, but it's like his work. Once you guys get the book, it jumps up in mid-book because I taught him different techniques that I've used and learned over the course of the last 20 years. And all right, thank you,
I'm
Bob.
just saying, we're backing it.
Yay! Let me tell you something. We get a lot of stuff from people. They're like, "We love your Kickstarter. Do you want to talk about how we can boost it?" I was like, "Show me you love it by backing it."
Listen, there's nobody comes on this show that doesn't get backed by me. I mean, that's how it goes. I put my money where my mouth is because it's. Look at this page.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. And this guy, let me tell you about Sincere. Sincere is if you merge Nat Turner and the Joker.
Mm. I don't want to do that.
That's it. And that's where Lightning Strike and Midnight Tiger come into play. Because they understand what's happening, but there's different sides of justice. And that's where the conflict lies between those three.
I'm loving it. So is it how many pages is this book?
It is 22 pages plus, since this is technically Studio Skye-Tiger Comics' first book that isn't mine per se. I mean, I'm a part of it, but we're publishing it.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have previews of 2 upcoming books. So when we come out in 2026 February, we have a big launch. We have 4 new titles.
Fantastic.
So yeah, it's Midnight Tiger Evo, which is technically going to be out before the year is out, but it'll be Midnight Tiger Evo, WTF Mama, Ebony and the Hall of Dragons, which is written by Jamal Anansi and drawn by Lucas Quibble, and yeah, and we have the continuing adventures of Lightning Strike by Marcus Newsom. So those are our core books. We have an anthology that's coming up, but we will have a 4-page preview of both Ebony and the Hall of Dragons and the new Lightning Strike in this book.
Awesome.
So you'll have 8 pages of just extra content, story content, plus 22 pages of Sincere, American Nightmare, and a bunch of other things and stuff like that, little doodads and stuff. So the book is probably going to be about 32 to 36 pages.
That's fantastic. That's great. We're going to keep talking about it, but
this is great.
I want to talk about Midnight Tiger and where he came from.
Okay.
Wait,
this is a character.
Before you do that, I have a really quick question. This book kind of comes on the heels of the big Epiphany Engine book that was all Black creators. I want to say it was like 50 Black creators all doing
maybe more, but yeah,
maybe.
Let's just say 50. Yeah.
And like I feel like that's something that I wouldn't say that it influenced this, because I doubt it. It seems like you guys were talking about it for a while, but it feels like a kind of all Negro Comics just came out in softcover, I think, a couple of weeks ago, but it was out, I think, won the Eisner this year, right?
Last year.
Last year.
Listen,
So, like, it feels like we're at a moment where,
it's a good
like,
moment.
yeah, where
good
like
moment.
Black creators are starting to, team up, and I wouldn't say do crossovers necessarily, but they're starting to pool their resources and kind of recognize each other in the workplace, let's call it, or in the industry, recognize each other and kind of all rising tide raises all ships type of situation.
Definitely.
Have you spoken to Tony since then about Sincere and about this crossover? Seems
Not
like
about this crossover, but he saw it. He saw it because we saw each other at Los Angeles Comic-Con earlier this year. It was the first time I actually met Tony in person. There was so much love there. It was just really, really great. And because in the new book that he's doing right now, Midnight Tiger is in there. In that, he's in so many damn crossovers, man. But yeah, he's in that book. He's in Epiphany Engine. I mean, a lot of that is happening, and you hit the nail on the head. A lot of it is happening on the indie circuit. I don't see it a lot in mainstream, and even like Boom and all that. I don't really see it a lot there.
I think I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you in certain point, but I also think like there's definitely some stuff going. I think that Vito's right about it's a moment. I think, and hopefully it's a moment. It's a starting moment, and we continue on, and it does not an ending moment.
That's my plan.
Yeah, exactly. But like even going back as far as 5-6 years ago, like Bitterroot and those guys getting together.
Yes, exactly.
That's I think of that as the beginning of the moment that we're currently experiencing, and the revival of the Milestone Initiative and the things that are going on there, and the DC Power stuff that's been going on, and the voices that Marvel is doing. Now, granted, those are all anthologies, and as Dino said earlier, Marvel and DC need to do more anthologies, but they are moments. They are pieces that we're doing, and so many people get their opportunity in those 8-pagers or whatever they are.
Yes.
And
I think we also have
the ability, get the opportunity to work with a Ray Anthony Height or a Vita Ayala or Danny Lore on those pieces and get experience. And I think that both Marvel and DC are fostering that. And I hope that it, I know that the editorial side of things wants that to become
they do, but I don't think that they quite have figured it out.
Yeah,
they haven't figured it out.
I think they want to. I don't know that they figured it out, and I don't know that people above editorial care.
There you go. That's the okay.
That's the point. It's editorial and below that we're all on the same page.
We are there. People want to see it. The bean counters.
That's where things get.
But remember, there was a point where they said that they held off on doing the Black Panther film because they didn't think that it was a market for it, an audience for it.
Sure.
Right.
They also canceled Young Justice because they didn't think girls like toys.
Exactly. Like it's dumb. It's dumb and short-sighted.
But we also have books like Ancestral Recall out right now.
Yes. I mean, things weave in. They get in. But it's what you said. This is the moment where we can expand.
Yep.
Right? Like, I'll tell you this, and I'm going to say some names, and I hope that the people watching now live or even further, he doesn't like his name being mentioned. I don't care. I love this dude because what he's doing is phenomenal. But Marquise Draper, who is an editor, a big editor. He's very, very, very smart.
I met him at Baltimore this year.
Wonderful
introduced me to him. He's great. I love the work he's doing.
Yes.
I love the books he's writing or editing and the work that he's doing on them. But I met him and he's a good dude, and he's
just a good dude. And he's always thinking. He's always planning, and he is a strategist. And Joe Illich, Joe is phenomenal. But Joe started his own thing. But he's also now, he used to be part of the original Milestone Guard, but now he's one of the driving forces behind the revitalization of
Right.
Milestone.
And he's bringing in good voices too. Like
Excellent.
Stephanie's going to
Top
help
tier.
write this book, and Nicholas Draper Ivy. These are, I mean, the people that are getting the opportunities deserve them.
Absolutely.
That's
I'm a big proponent
important.
behind Stephanie Williams. I'm a banner reader. You know what I mean?
Well, Stephanie,
I love Steph.
Stephanie is my sister. She is.
Yeah.
We are birthday twins, and
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
She is my sister from another mister, and
She's great.
but yeah, no, there are so many good voices getting opportunities to speak and to show themselves, and you're doing that. Joe's doing that. You know, Marquis hopefully continues to do that, and again, the opportunities come, taking, and I see people taking advantage of it. The fact that Ahoy, now I'll tell you this is an interesting thing, because Ahoy is a great little publisher,
Yeah.
and they're known for their humor and their wackiness, right? But there have been 2 books that they put out that are not funny per se. Blacksmith, which I love. Blacksmith is great. We've talked about this, and Eric knows how much I love that book. But Ancestral Recall is also not funny, but a smart book. And what Jordan's been doing, trying to hype that book and talking about the things that he's doing. If you're not paying attention to Jordan Clark on social media, you should be.
Absolutely.
And this is every moment is the moment, right? It doesn't matter whether it's today or yesterday or tomorrow. Every moment is a moment to be seized, to talk about things that people don't talk about, to give people, an opportunity to express themselves that haven't gotten that opportunity before. And I love that you're doing that. And I thank you, Vito, for bringing this up. This is.
Oh yeah, like the follow up I would have, for Ray really is, how do you think we take the moment and move and become a movement? Like, how do we, move it further than just Kickstarter here, like a convention special there? Like, how do we support it, as non-Black creators, and then how do Black creators actually build upon the successes that they've had to maybe inspire gay creators or female creators or Hispanic creators? Like, how, because it seems like, just from my experiences, being, part of the Puerto Rico Strong and the Reconstruction, you and I did the story for Reconstruction, which was basically an autobiography. Ray drew part of my life, and probably the best my face has ever looked on. But
wait till you see it in Midnight Tiger Evo.
Yeah, yeah, you've mentioned. But the thing about Hispanics, we seem to come together when there's a reason to. But I feel like the only reason there is for Epiphany Engine, for Sincere, for the Midnight Tiger, but Studio Skye-Tiger's initiative going forward, it seems like it's because there's an absence. Because there's a need for it, because there is let's call it a hole, in the industry. So like, what's the examples that other marginalized groups can take from this to build their own moments? And then how do we make sure that your moment isn't overshadowed and that we make it the movement?
I'll tell you this. First of all, the pie is big enough for everybody.
That's a good point.
And I believe that strongly, because in the studio, I have every representation. A lot of LGBTQ plus, Black and brown creators. Like, that's important to me, because there are voices that everybody's got a story. The human experience is what we do in comics. We just change the formatting of the genre, but our stories are about the human experience, and we're always telling stories. So it is criminal that, people with different walks of life have their stories basically shut out. So my best and first advice about this: stop asking for permission.
Oh, never do that. Just
right?
do it.
because you
Sure.
keep talking about like, yeah, like, oh, I want to work in Marvel. I want to do. Don't do that. What you do is you do your own stuff. However you do it, it's easier now than it ever has been. I know people say that, but it's so true. And what stops people is that whole permission thing. Like, well, it's not going to get seen if it's not at Marvel. That's not true. That's not true. There are books that not even close to Marvel and DC they're selling hundreds of thousands of copies. You know, just look at the stuff at First Second, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
come on, right? So stop asking for permission. Create the work that you want to create.
I mean, to go even Scholastic.
Oh, I purposely didn't say Scholastic, Bob,
I'm going to
because
say it,
they're just a giant.
but
you
they
know,
are.
They're a giant.
But they are,
you
and
know?
they are keeping this industry going.
Yes,
in many ways.
they really, really. I would say between Scholastic and manga, that's it.
I
That's-
mean, that's holding us up, and we
Yeah.
and we need to take advantage of that help, that support, and build. You know, I mean, you know, our buddy Jamar's over at Scholastic doing fantastic things.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, that's the crazy thing about all of this. If you keep barking up the wrong tree, you're going to get the wrong results,
Right.
right? So,
I mean, and there's so many things. There. Listen, the opportunities are there. I have, you know, my first credit is, you know, a guy I know who said, I'm going to be a comic writer. I'm going to just do it, you know? So I'm like, oh, I'll edit your second series. So I'm doing it, you know, just because that's it,
I
you
love
know? And he's got 3 issues out now, you know, of stuff. 2
That's
series.
the other part, Bob.
is-
Keep going. So,
Yeah.
so V asked the question about how do you, you know, like really make that happen and make it last a long time. Don't do one and done. Keep going.
It doesn't matter
it's-
if people
yeah.
don't read that. If you feel that people don't read that issue, or you don't
Yeah.
get the buzz, or the bump, or the accolades, you are not doing this because of accolades. You cannot.
No.
If that's why you're doing this, you're wrong.
You're wrong. Yeah, you're wrong.
You're
looking
doing it
for the
because you
wrong
need
thing.
to, because you want to, because you want to share your story, and people will find your story. And
They
as
will.
Dino says, you got to speak. You got to spark your own barbecue.
That's it. I mean, he's speaking my language. I know what you're saying, but that's really it. You really do. And the other part about it is like Edgardo and what he's doing.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Like,
Like,
you can't stop
and
him.
he's been doing it for years.
You can't stop him.
No, you can't. And that's the other thing. Like the guys at Stranger Comics, you know, there are all these different publishers that are there. The more that we keep having interviews like this and talking about the work, because word of mouth is still big.
Sure.
It's still big.
And you got a lot more mouths to hear it on social media.
Oh,
We
yeah.
talked earlier about some of the bad parts about social media.
And
But,
so
you know-
let's use it for good. Let's
Yeah.
use social media to talk more about the stuff we love. That's what I try to do. Anybody who's following me, I love to talk about positive things. I rarely ever say anything negative, and if it is, it's quite tame by comparison.
It's only when we're talking together and we start, you know,
Oh,
Yeah,
we're on
like a
yeah.
lot of the things that I said,
Yeah.
the things I said earlier about the current Marvel event, I've not said publicly until tonight because there was a reason for it.
That was
But
a good
still,
conversation, though. I was definitely
I
listening.
appreciate
Some
that.
of the
But,
things
like,
you said. Yeah.
but if you follow me anywhere on social media, I will not. If I don't like it, I'm not going to talk about it. Why waste my time? It doesn't matter if I don't like it, I'm not going to bring attention to it. I'm going to talk about things I like.
Yeah.
You know, and there's so many good comics coming out by so many different creators, by so many
love
different
that.
types of creators.
Well, that's why I posted the thing on my Facebook. Like, there's so many good books out there. There's so many good books. Like, I was like, hey, plug your stuff. Plug your stuff.
Oh yeah,
so
that's
we can
great.
get it
Yeah,
seen.
definitely go to Ray's stuff where you see it, wherever you see him online, and
Yeah.
he's got some good stuff on there. There's a bunch of Kickstarters that are out there. It's funny because, you know, I was looking earlier. We've over the past, you know, 6 weeks or so, almost everybody we've had on has had a Kickstarter on. Just some of it's ironic and some of it's, you know, some of it's, you know, intentional. Like, I want to get those people on to talk about things. and they're all getting funded. Like we had David Boer on a couple of weeks ago,
Oh, I love
and
Boer.
and his first Kickstarter's live, and it just got funded this morning. So we're super happy about that. But like it's we're out here talking about this medium that we love.
Yeah.
That will fuel your soul, that is good for your thoughts, for your mind. And if we support it, if we talk about it, if we put our money where our mouth is when we need to, there will be more. People will have the opportunity to pick up, Die Loaded and have their mind blown a second time.
Yeah.
Which just came out last week, by the way. I read that issue, and that's a book that, like, I loved. Die was which is Kieran Gillen and Stephanie Hans from it's Clayton Cowles on letters. That book, if you haven't read that book and you want your mind to be blown and you like anything about role playing, you should be reading that book.
I like my
Sounds good
mind.
to me. Yeah.
What?
I like my mind as it is.
Well,
You're like, I want my mind intact. I don't need to blow.
Let's keep it.
And it was 20 issues of crazy, really amazing, thought-provoking, beautiful art. And then it was gone. And now issue 1 of the second, whatever it is, came out, and I was blown away again. So,
but that's people who love the work.
Yep.
Like you can feel it. You can feel it in the pages when people love what they're doing.
I feel like we all have to just, as creators, we have to get past the point of sustainability wishes. Like if you're gonna not make a comic because you don't think you're gonna make money, don't make a comic.
Don't make a comic. Yeah.
Make something else. But if you want to make a comic for the purity of making something tangible and something that's disposable, something that can be handed off to anybody, wherever, whenever, if that's what your goal is, then there's no reason to hold back. There's nothing holding you back except for yourself.
Well, yeah, and it's usually yourself.
Because like I can't draw, at least not to my, not to fit my aesthetics.
I can't. I can't draw. Okay, I'm
like,
going to be honest.
I can't draw.
Full draw. Tom King might be a better artist than I am.
Yeah.
Wow.
But but that being said, like you can ask Dean, you can ask Matt Major, you can ask Ray, like Charlie McKelvey. These guys all know, like I can get an idea like this. Like I'm just dropping ideas like every day.
He's got 20, 30 ideas a day.
But the only thing that's stopping me from making these happen is funds. Finding the right artist, finding an artist that fits my my personal aesthetic. And then paying them, because I do it for free. I work a 9-to-5 job. Like writing comics is just fun for me.
Wait, so it's a perfect example of where we are is in an indie society. Like there's a person out here. There are more vetoes out there than just this one, who are coming up with ideas. We each know a dozen of them.
Jamal Anansi and Vito are very much the same. They come up with ideas all the time.
But there are also people out there who are drawing, who need somebody to give them a script. So keep doing those things, and eventually we'll.
You know what I do nowadays? I go on Reddit. There's a subreddit called Hungry Artists. And then there's another one, I think it's just called Comic Book Art or something like that. And I'll just throw out advice, like, to artists, like all the time. Like there's somebody wrote, like they posted up a couple of like pinups or whatever. And they said, should I continue doing this or should I move to comics? And move to like, writing, making my own comic. And everybody's like, oh yeah, this is great. This, do this, and I said, realistically speaking, I don't know what your comic book sequential artwork is. If you don't know how to tell a story, don't just jump to it. train yourself, like, you know, like take the time, learn, you know, like it's not something that you have to rush into.
No, I mean that's really the thing. Like this is my last and final class, but I have, you know, a secret story, not so secret storytelling class, and the graduates are actually going to be who submit for my anthology next year. Their work is going to be put in the anthology, which I'll publish. But that's the meat and potatoes of what I teach is the art of storytelling, and they all have different styles. Like I wish if I knew we were going to talk about this, I would have sent you some stuff, Bob, and you could see some of the class stuff. But
That's fine.
But they can go to my my Instagram
Mhm.
and see some stuff. Sometimes I'll post the students' work and stuff like that. But they have grown exponentially, and a couple of them are actually ready to do their own book. They really are, like whatever they're doing, and I can't wait for you guys to see the work that they're doing. Which is just phenomenal. But that's really it. It's about storytelling because we all have different artists that we love, right? And I bet you they all have different styles. And there's reasons why you love them, you know, and that's the beauty. If the story is clear, you know, and you're engaged, I think you got it. You know what I mean? Like I love people's work that as detailed as like a Barry Windsor Smith, but I also have an incredible love for the work of a style like Dean Haspel's, right?
Sure.
Completely different, both just awesome storytellers. Like, you know, like seriously engage in the story because that art form, and it truly is an art form, if it's treated as such, and you know how to get from point A to point B, part of the thing that I teach is also interpreting script. So
Let's talk about that for a second. In your experience, as you were figuring out how to do this, was there a moment? Where was it that you, or what was a specific moment that you remember like figuring out how to tell a story, or was there a piece of criticism or something like that, or something where you're like, oh, I get that's what I need to do.
well, there's been a couple over the years, but the higher points. The very first time that I really changed the way I saw story is when I was being mentored by Dennis Cowan, and
that will do it.
You know, and I remember that because we were talking about story. I mean, it was so funny because when I started with Dennis, it was prepping for something in animation.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But it's comic work that got me in because, you know, he's a comic book legend and he knows comics. So we were talking about, yes. And so he takes me into his office and he shows me this cool, and I mean simply cool picture of Torpedo. And he goes, "Do you know who did this?" And I'm like, "No." And then it was almost like I told him that, you know, God is dead. I don't know. It was like, he said, "How can you not know? All of those cartoons that we had, like you said you loved, the guy who designed all that stuff did this." And so he was talking about Toth. And so he gave me this whole, like, if you've ever had Dennis as a teacher or a mentor, when he gets on that stuff, like he is beating that stuff into you, man. And let's just say after that, I went on a whole like deep dive into Toad. Other people too. I blame Dennis for my love of researching all kinds of, you know, like European, you know, Italian, whatever artists. I went down a rabbit hole. But that was the first thing. The second thing is when I start reading Toast's letters to Steve Rude.
Yeah.
And that's what got me. That was like, so from Dennis to Toth was that thing. And it's like, tell the story. Do what's essential. Strip away all the superfluous. Right? So, and I was thinking, I'm looking at guys like Perez all wrong. I'm looking at guys like Barry Windsor Smith all wrong because it's not the fancy rendering. It's not the 50 characters on the page. It's what they're doing. Can we read this from left to right? Is there a flow? The rhythm, all of those different things. And, you know.
I'll hit you with this. This is, and Vito will know this exactly. So I've talked about this a million times. New Teen Titans 38, my favorite single issue. There's a page where there's about 80 panels on it. Like literally, there's 20 something panels on it.
Right.
Okay. But I believe it's that page. Or right. But the most important thing in that book, of everything in that book, of all the panels, is the panel when Donna hugs her mother.
Yes.
Because that is telling a story in that one panel. That panel has come down the ages. It has been redrawn. It has been reused. It is the key panel in DC's Rebirth because it is regenerated.
It's burned into your brain.
Yeah. And so like I saw it and I told Phil, I'm like, that's this panel. He's like, of course it is.
Yeah. Now I'm going to tell you what's crazy.
Point. The point is telling a story in an image.
It's the panels preceding that made that panel worth a damn.
It's an earned moment.
It's an earned moment. So that is
when he has, Corey flying in the sky and there's the whole city rendered perfectly below her. Yeah. That's all great. And that's a beautiful piece of art. Great. But the concept, and like you're saying, is that where is your heart being moved? Where is your soul being touched? And it's all there.
People don't talk about being touched or being moved by a comic, enough anymore.
Yeah, they don't talk about it enough. It happens all the time.
It's usually like a Jaime Hernandez book that really gets me in the soul. But it'll happen every now and again. Like
I am much more like, listen, if you're not reading everything is dead and dying.
Well, we were talking about Tom King, and he did other than the Barda, Mr. Miracle finding out that Barda's pregnant, which is great.
Oh, yeah. And she said, "Stay."
Yeah,
the panel that she says "stay" is the best panel I read that year.
Then, he also did a thing in Wonder Woman fairly recently with Daniel Sampere with the Sovereign story, where you just see Wonder Woman being broken, as a person, and and then you feel like you're at your lowest, and then you see that she's just just messing with Sovereign, and it's just amazing. Yeah. Like she's just kind of toying with him, or she's got one last burst of godliness in her, and then she just takes his shit and just throws it out the window.
Right.
I have often told my students that we are the masters of emotional manipulation.
Yeah, sure.
That's the whole point of it.
That's the whole point of it. That's the whole, that's what storytelling is. Even without words, a great comedian can walk you through a joke and then hit you with the punchline. It's a story, but the punchline kills. The punchline kills because you're engaged in the story. It's all the panels that surrounded that one panel that leads you to the moment. And that's it. That is the key to good storytelling, you guys.
What is that panel for you? What is that panel in Midnight Tiger? Because I can tell you what the panel is in Stray.
You know what? That's a good question. In the entirety of the story, I know what the panel is in Stray too.
Oh,
what'd you say, Bob? Wait, what'd you say?
I know Bob knows Stray like the back of his hand. I'm interested in seeing if we have the same panel.
Well, Bob, we talked about what was it? Actionverse.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think it was you, Bob. It was like you guys were really doing something on that Actionverse. But for me, as the creator, it was a couple of moments. The moment for me actually happened in issue 3.
Okay.
And that moment is you're going through this, you're a new superhero, you're in this town, you're doing this thing, you're trying to figure things out. There are things about being a superhero that You don't know what that's like the difference between being a fan and actually being a celebrity or a star. There's now you're on the inside and you can see things that you didn't see before. So he's going through all of these different things. He's, figuring out what his powers are and all of these different things. He fights Stone. First, he gets kidnapped, right?
Yeah.
So easily. He gets duped, right? He gets kidnapped. He's not exactly sure. I'm spoiling a lot. I'm sorry, guys. He's not exactly sure what's going on, and he's being fried with the taser. He's trying to deal with this. He's being tased probably faster than his healing factor can even, surmise at this point, right? Uh-oh, Vito's got the nice one. And so he gets to this point. He's being carted to be in front of the big bad of this, origin story. And he's been hearing about this dude. I've been hearing about this dude this whole time. He meets this guy, and he's being taunted and all of these different things. And then there's a fight. This is the first time he actually fights somebody with powers. And he doesn't know what he's doing. And so he's giving it all he's got. He's trying to be flashy. Sure, he gets a good hit. He thinks he's doing well, but he's realizing, oh crap, this dude is a threat. Like, it's a real threat. I've been cakewalking this entire time.
Yeah.
So he basically gets knocked across the city. You don't really get and what you see is Raven, who is actually trying to monitor him and what's going on in his personal life. So you're actually getting people don't see this, but you're getting two sides of his life. You're getting what it's like to be a superhero, that superhero side, and you're getting his home life. You're getting his school life, his friends. And so he lands in one of his best friend's backyard. And his mask is torn up and all of that. And he doesn't quite know where he is because it's all a surprise, And he doesn't realize his mask is messed up. So his face is exposed. So his best friend, Ryan, sees him, doesn't say anything. She's in shock. Like, this is freaking Gavin, right? Like, this is freaking Gavin. He's going through all of these emotions right now. He's trying to figure out, am I dead? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
At the same time, Raven comes and takes him to the base of one of his favorite superhero teams. This could be a dream. So he goes through it. He's in awe. He still hasn't had time to process everything. And once they say, okay, I watched this video. Here's Lion's Blood, who's giving me this power. He is dead. I do not have a mentor. There's nobody I can learn from with the same abilities as me. But then they want me to join this team. I'm in the middle of fighting in my neighborhood, a neighborhood that desperately needs me. I don't know what I'm doing. So he has a thought, and here's the moment. All of that leads up to that moment. They invite him to the team, and then there's a pause. And then he says, respectfully, no thank you. And he goes on, it's like, you guys can do all of these things. He tells them the thoughts he had. But yet you watch me get my ass kicked. For what? For what reason? You could have stopped him a long time ago. With all of your powers combined, it would only be one of you. You could teleport him somewhere in the middle of the ocean if you wanted to. Right? But no, you let all this stuff go on. If you're not going to do it, I need to stay in my town. So respectfully kiss my ass. So that's it.
It's awesome. It's perfectly. I understand that. And what is at the heart of what we're talking about, and what we've been talking about for the longest, is that emotion, that feeling that character has, that you created, is a story that everybody can relate to.
Yeah.
That everybody has gone through that point in their life when oh shit, this is real. They're like, I thought I had it figured out. Right. And then they get to the point where they're like, okay, I'm there. I know that I have a long road ahead of me, and I need to do it. And this is where I belong.
Yeah.
Ray, do you know what the moment is in Midnight Tiger Stronger?
No, you tell me, what's your moment for Stronger?
The moment that I think everything turns for me in that story, I mean, I wrote that with Ray kind of overseeing.
Mm.
It was Midnight Tiger, Stronger, it's called. And the whole theme of the story is Gavin ready to do this? Like, is he strong enough to do this on his own? And at some point, he gets a weapon that is a plant that he thinks it's from his mentor, not his mentor, but lion's blood. But it ends up, being from an actual enemy in waiting. And what happens is he's using this weapon, and the weapon's changing him. And then at some point, he realizes he can't use this weapon anymore. So he's got to fight these two amped twins called the Cutter brothers. And he is kind of at the point where he's overwhelmed by it. And out of nowhere, his father, in the lion's blood costume, or a facsimile thereof, crashes into the fight. And he's like, that's the moment. It's like his father is there with him, and he knows that no one's going to let him down, especially not his father. So whatever the fight is from here, it doesn't matter because we're going to win it because his dad is there.
So
Right.
Vito, at the end of the origin story, which you have,
Mhm.
and you know how the last page is.
Yeah.
Was that, so you see how I did that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like but again, like it's all like we were talking about who is Donna Troy. We're talking about these earned moments, like that. In lesser hands, and that's not to say that, when Ray wrote Midnight Tiger 3 and when I wrote Stronger, that we were the storytellers that we are today. Even, these are only a couple of years ago. We were still kind of learning our way. I would say Stronger is probably my fourth, maybe, the story that I've written at the time. So like, I'm still relatively new at it, but the thing that I understood was that the characters that know who that Gavin is Midnight Tiger.
Oh, you mean your fourth Midnight Tiger?
No, I'm talking about my fourth miniseries story completely.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, you know
like,
what? You're
I
right.
haven't done much.
Yeah, I would say it was your fourth.
Yeah, so like it was very, like, for me, like I knew that wasn't even a moment that Eric and I had planned until after, because I had done plots, and then I sent because I never worked Marvel style, but I'd sent the plots to Ray to kind of look at and go and say, continuity wise this works, continuity wise this doesn't work. And then I think it was like really like right before Eric was drawing that issue, though, like I want to try something, and I want to get like your approval. Can I do this with this character? Can I do this with Gavin's dad? And you're like, well, let's see it, do it. And I don't even think you were like kind of challenging, and this goes into Ray's mentorship and like his training, students at Studio Skye-Tiger. Like, I don't think Ray was like, just saying, like challenging me to like, all right, let's see if you can pull it off. I think it was more like, I trust you enough with this character to let you write the entire series. Why would I not let you try this in the last issue? Do you know what I mean? Like if you're stewarding, if you're my steward for now before the king comes back, like if you're taking this property to whatever the next thing is, I have no reason to doubt that you would do something detrimental to the character. And again, I think that speaks more, less about me as a writer and more about Ray as a mentor and teacher.
Well, there wasn't. So, Bob, I got to tell you, and I'm going to get some deep inside the inner workings,
That's
especially
fine.
me and Vito's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So, when we were working on Action,
Mhm.
and we're doing this big crossover, and everybody gets a turn. It was really one of the most collaborative efforts I'd ever been a part of. And it was time, for all of us, Jamal, Vito, myself, because, all the other characters are great, but let's be honest, those three characters, Molly and Stray and Midnight Tiger, were the main characters, kind of, you know what I mean? Aside from, Virtue was like in there, but
I think
And-
Virtue had its history as being the first superhero comic that Action Lab did.
Action Lab
So
had, yeah.
we were definitely indebted to it. So,
But when people come to me, they don't even talk about virtue. like it's always, when are you guys gonna do this thing? Anyway,
by the way, that team on that book is just like Murderer's Row. I don't care what anybody
it
says.
really was, but I'm gonna tell you
No,
when the moment was. It's in Zero.
Somehow-
When Molly goes to go see the boys in recovery.
Mhm.
That was the moment for me.
Hmm.
And that was in Zero.
Yeah.
And was that you, or was that Jamal who wrote that?
That was Jamal. I think I
was
wrote,
so-
like, I was thinking about this the other day. I think I wrote the first third of Zero, so that would have been somebody else.
Okay, so
I wasn't
that
comfortable
was so
being the anchor.
good. Oh well, it was so good. It was the moment, because the fight, you wrote that fight.
I choreographed it. I don't know that I wrote it, but like per se, but yeah.
Well, I definitely remember, Stray kicking Gavin's ass. So
Let me tell you, like Bob, I definitely want to get back to this. What do you think the moment was in Stray? Because I'm very curious now.
I'm not remembering the panel per se, but there was a point. There was a point when he walks away. There's a moment when he walks away and he's like, okay, I've fucked this up, and I can't do this anymore. And I don't remember the exact panel, but like it was at the end of issue 1. There was a point at the end of issue 1 where I had no hope for not being invested in this character for the rest of my life.
yeah. It'll do that. Rodney is that kind of character, man. Like you feel his pain.
It has also with the team, walking away from the team in a certain way. That was a big moment.
The moment I think that earns everything. There's two actually, and they're both in issue 4, but the second one is the moment for me. But the two moments in issue 4 of the first miniseries are when he's left alone in the kennel after the teenager leaves to go find Duet. And he wakes up and he's looking at the video footage and he realizes something that nobody else realizes, and it's that it's a reverse image. So you have a reverse image. So in his like detective mind says, oh, he's literally talking out of the other side of his mouth. So he's going to be on the opposite side of the building of the island that they're on. So he's not where they're going. He's going to be at the other spot. So that like earned moment there is that it's detective work. It's the thing that his dad taught him. If you read all of Stray, you always see my flash facts, which is crime fighting 101. Like that's him basically quoting his dad training him, as growing up. But the moment in Stray that I think is earned and is poignant and is absolutely the thing that I'm probably proudest of Sean, because he actually said, let's do it this way and we'll be able to show it a little bit better. It's a sequence on the bottom of one of the pages where Stray is hanging by a chain and he's pulling on it and he's trying to get free, and all he says is, Dad, just give this to me. That's the moment. Like everything else after that moment, whether it be a different miniseries, where it be an appearance in another book or whatever, if that moment doesn't happen, none of that happens. Like if he doesn't, basically call upon his ancestors in a way, he doesn't ask for his father for one moment of help, and again, that moment seeds the moment in Midnight Tiger, because his father is there.
Yes.
So his like the strength that he notices that this is not just comics, everybody.
And that's the point.
Yeah, like this is
the point.
Stories.
That's the point. And that's what you're saying. That's the point, Bob. Like that. So when Vito and I talk about story, like it's both about it's what is it? It's coded. The relationship that Stray and the Doberman, Rodney and his dad have, the same thing kind of thing as Gavin and his dad has. It's coded into this story. It's all the other things, but as far as who these characters are, it keeps coming out.
It's also
in different ways.
It's also our DNA. So you think of it this way: I lost my father young. I was 15 when my father died in a car accident. Your father passed away a couple of years ago, but you had your life with your dad. So
Yeah.
the idea that I would call upon my dad for one little sense of help, whereas you probably could have called upon your dad to help you with something at some point.
But it's the opposite. Remember we talked about this?
Yeah.
It is like Gavin, like me, the last thing you want to do. Right? That's the last thing you want to do is call. Yeah.
But here's I'm going to look into my camera. Here's the trick, everybody. Ray has a son, and that's the actual story we're telling.
Yep.
It's
That's
not
it.
much Ray.
You gave it away.
It's Ray and his son, and that's why you can I can do that moment because I know exactly what. Even though my experience meeting Ray's dad was profound. I fell in love with that man immediately, and he felt like my family. So the urge, the need for me to respect him in that work was there, but I know that that's Ray and Anthony.
Yeah.
So we got to kind of wrap it up.
Sorry,
We got real deep. Sorry about that, Bob.
No,
this is
I want to finish on that point, and that's why I want to do this. So there's a thing that we do. We spend, we're here on Pop Culture Squadcast every Tuesday night. We talk about comics and we talk about different things, and we talk about how
you're welcome.
How this medium in particular, but art in general is something that moves your soul. If your soul is moved, then you are alive, and that you have a story to tell, and everybody has a story to tell. There's it's interesting because I just had a conversation last night with my son who he had showed the art that's in our house. Like he walked around and showed his friend on his phone, and he's like, oh, that's I'm like, I love our walls tell stories, and each piece of it is, oh, well, that's a friend who did this, but this is what that means, or all that things, or even to the fact that the tattoo that's on my arm is telling a story about something, and it's about telling something and something beyond yourself. And that external storytelling is what moves us as a society, as a people, as a race, as everything. It moves us forward so that we don't move backward.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what the shamans are for, and the griots, and
all of this, all of the artists, and all of the writers, and all of the colorists and letterers and editors, and all the things that we do this, we're all trying to enter. While it's entertaining, if it doesn't mean anything, what does it matter?
Well, we're trying to talk to not people's necessarily intelligence, but their hearts.
Sure. Yes.
That's where it's heart to heart communication. It's when you read something and it just hits you. And you're like, wow. Like, have you guys, I know we've been reading thousands and thousands of comics over however long we've been reading comics. I know that there has been a comic where you paused after reading something. You say, I gotta put this down. Right? Right? Or there's a comic that you read where it audibly makes you laugh out loud.
Sure.
Right? Like that is the power of comics. That's the power of storytelling in general.
Yeah.
And
then
I look around, I'm like, who can I tell that joke to?
Yeah, right, exactly. And you can't wait to share it with somebody else.
Exactly. Dean has a very good thing he always says to me, and he goes, and he's talking about himself, but he said it on our show, and he says it a couple different times since the Kickstarter. His Kickstarter just ended. He's like, my story is incomplete until you read it.
That's great.
Like
Dang, I'm
what I
stealing that.
what I've written, like I might be finished making it, but it's not done until you have read it.
That's right.
Sure.
Yeah, oh, I'm definitely stealing that.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. All right, guys. Kickstarter is available right now. Sincere American Nightmare Hub City crossover event from Studio Skye-Tiger. Go back that. What else you got going real quick? Anything else?
So-
There's a bunch of stuff coming from Studio
There's-
Skye-Tiger next year.
There's a bunch of stuff. We just released. So I'm glad you asked that question. I was ready. So we just did the 108-page WTF Mama story.
Nice.
The French homage cover. I just
Yes, yes.
Love that.
And
Of course
it's,
it is.
you know,
Of course
an
it's- of
introduction
course it's Prince of
to,
Love.
you know, Nanita and her family and her antics and stuff like that. She's hilarious. She's got quite the quick wit, and she'll cut up the right people, but she is super loving, and she's a grandma. You know, she's 85 years old. She used to build and restore cars. This is her car,
Of course she did.
right? But she just wants to be left alone in her own agency until she blows up her house. But you get that story. That story comes out in February. So yeah, that's that one. You know, Midnight Tiger Evo is headed into completion. You know, that starts a new series. Like I said, Sincere American Nightmare is kind of like it's a 3-parter, but this is the first part of it.
Awesome.
So yeah, so you're getting that part of it, and that's a joint venture, which is fantastic. And then we're going to get Ebony and the Hall of Dragons, which is an urban fantasy. Technically, Midnight Tiger is an urban fantasy. You know,
Oh, yeah.
so yeah, yeah, that's right. Can't reveal that. So, but yeah, so that's going to be fantastic. You know, with Ebony the elf and Sam the gorilla, it's super cool. I love that. That's by Jamal Anansi and Lucas Coble. And then we're going to continue Lightning Strike. I think Marcus is already. I think he's up to issue 4. So he's doing issue 4 now. He already has a book. We're going to end up. I didn't announce this yet, but we're going to end up doing. We're going to give away PDFs on the Kickstarter of everybody's books that have been previously done, so you can get introed into their worlds. So, but all that's coming out in the beginning, and we have contracted stuff. We're doing something with Half Evil. Midnight Tiger, Studio Skye-Tiger Studios, you know, Comics is doing something with Half Evil. You know, so Rachel Nelson, Rylan Grant, and then we're also doing something with Looking Lion Books, part of an anthology. So that's being worked on right now. And then what else are we doing? We're also doing something with Archie that I have an NDA I can't talk about.
Nice.
So, but yeah, so we're doing a bunch of things at the comic company / production company.
You forgot.
Fantastic. This is
your
What did I forget?
anthology. Your Midnight
Oh
Tiger.
yes, that Vito is a part of. I'm still waiting for the revised.
That's what I'm. Funny enough, I was just about to print it, and I was like, "Wait, we're on the air. I can't do that."
Yeah, no. So you're right. So that I'd love for that to come out in mid 2026, but I know V is going to get his stuff done. We have the thing with Looking Lion. That's going to be a part of it. And yes, I love that shock of color. Anyway, so what else? So yeah, V's doing he's going to introduce somebody.
I'm going to introduce
that's going to be really cool
to the
That's gonna be
lore.
really
that I hope
cool.
lasts.
Fantastic.
And then
but
also, like in Evo, he's got Red Hook is showing up.
Oh yes,
Ryan, like Impossible Jones, right?
Impossible Jones.
Like
Some Dynamo 5 characters, some Noble Causes characters. So it's funny that you were listed all those books that I worked on.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Listen, it's going to be good. All right. You guys got so much to please make sure you go and back this Kickstarter. Go follow Ray Anthony on all the social medias and Studio Skye-Tiger because there's tons more news coming. Thanks, man, for being here. I'm
Oh, this
glad
is
we
fun.
did this.
It's different from seeing you at shows to seeing you here. It's a
That's
different
awesome.
but now we actually got to sit and talk.
Yeah, absolutely. So good. Thanks for being here, Ray Anthony. Appreciate you. Appreciate everything you're doing, and stay safe. Happy
you.
Thanksgiving.
Happy
Happy Thanksgiving. Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I can cut loose.
All right.
I hope I didn't
Thanks, man.
overwhelm everybody, with my knowledge of Ray's stuff and,
And
No, it
vice
was
versa.
perfect.
throwing
All
out
right,
the
Ray, I'm
question.
gonna let you go. Vito, thanks for doing this. Thanks for
Oh, absolutely.
filling in. I think it worked out great. Appreciate it. And I hope we didn't make Vito, I hope we didn't make Dean too jealous. He's filled in for us before.
Yeah, I know.
So thanks for doing this. Do you have
Absolutely.
anything you want to post other than Vito X Dino?
No, that's pretty much the only thing I want to really plug is we are on YouTube. We're also updating our episodes on Spotify, and not only is it on Spotify, it's also on Apple Podcasts. Excuse me, not Apple Music, and Pocket Cast as well because I use that myself. So I got to make sure the one that I use as our episodes, and also Dean's Antimatter Kickstarter. I know it's not mine, but since that's my money. Late pledges are open, so you can still back it and get the antimatter anthology that Dean's putting together. And I would say, just follow me. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on TikTok. I'm trying to get rid of toxicity, but you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. Incognito. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm on some of the other ones as well. But Incognito is a way to find me. And that's the best way to find out when Stray the Beast Within comes out. That is basically my Antifa Stray story, my anti-fascist Stray story that goes into the history of the Stray lineage.
Excellent. I'm excited for it. Thanks for being here, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely.
You have a happy Thanksgiving to
You as well.
To your family as well. And if you go into the links, the show links, you will see the link to the late pledge option for Antimatter. Best of the family.
Thank you. You saw all three of them tonight.
I understand. I did. I have a special place in my heart for your daughter there. So
thank you very much.
all right, we'll talk soon.
All right. Good night, Bob. Thank you.
All right. It's just me. But really quick, folks, we're gonna close this off. Thanks for being here. And dealing with tonight. We had a great time. We're gonna be back next Tuesday with a guest. We're gonna have Benjamin Percy on the show next Tuesday. We're gonna talk about his comics. We're gonna also talk about some other really cool projects he's doing. Been wanting to have him on for a really long time, and he agreed to do it. So next Tuesday, December 2nd, we'll be here. We're gonna have another show the week after that. And the following week, the third week in December, is going to be our year-end wrap-up. It's going to be our year-end Gab Fest. We're going to have Mike and myself and a couple of other guests, and we're going to talk about what we liked this year. We're not going to talk about what we didn't like, because why waste our energy? Anyway, thanks for being here, everybody. Remember, read more comics. They're good for your soul, and we'll see you later. Thanks.
This has been a production of the Pop Culture Squad Network. PopCultureSquad.com. How do you nerd?